Passwords suck. They're hard to remember. You're supposed to have a different, long, unique one on every single website, but that's either impossible to remember, or you have to use a password manager, which adds a decent amount of complexity for just logging in to get your data. Thankfully, we are finally entering the end of the password era. We're going to be moving from passwords to passkeys. My name is Eldridge. I've got more than a decade of experience in the IT and security industry. And today I'm going to be talking about what passkeys are, where they're going to be used, how they work under the hood, and also where you can start using them today to make yourself more secure right now. So first off, what is a passkey? How is it different than a password? So rather than this being something you know and enter, this is going to be a thing you have. Now, historically, this has been done with things such as YubiKeys. You might have had to use this if you've worked in certain environments before, but it's effectively something that looks basically like a flash drive, plugs in like a flash drive, and you touch it when you need to authenticate. What this does is a special cryptographic operation on that device itself that is exchanged with the place you're trying to log into. And that works really well. It's based on asymmetric cryptography, which I've talked about previously, a very strong and well-tested method of secure encrypted communication. This works really well, but it's not really reasonable to expect everyone to go out and buy one or two of these keys just to log in to their email. Thankfully, the type of technology that's in that key has become very pervasive in our smartphones and our laptops over the last several years. So now, instead of using YubiKeys, we can make passkeys work based on the secure environments in your laptop or your phone. And so this is going to let you actually use your phone or your laptop's ecosystem. So, for example, Google across Android and Chrome and Chromebooks, Apple across iPhones, Macs, Safari, Microsoft across Edge and Windows devices. You can also leverage password managers to manage your passkeys as well, but it's going to be a lot easier to use. Both 1Password and Bitwarden have announced betas. Your password manager, if you use one, is probably going to add it soon. If you're already using Google or Apple's with Google's password manager and Apple's iCloud keychain, you're already ready to go for passkeys. So, how is this exactly going to work? Well, first off, when you log into something with a passkey, one thing that is built into the very protocol is domain binding. So you probably know about phishing, where someone tries to trick you into entering your credentials into their site by making it look like Google or Netflix or what have you. And then when you enter it in, they have your credentials. If you attempt to log in somewhere with a passkey, it is going to be bound to that place. So if someone tricks you into going not to google.com, but to google.com spelled with zeros instead of O's, if you try to use a passkey on that exchange, then it's going to be bound to the Google with two zeros domain instead of the google.com domain. And so they might get your passkey login, but it will be useless for any other site. It can only be used to log in to that site. And all of this is based around the web authentication and FIDO2 standards. These have been used with YubiKeys for some years now, and there have been no real-world phishing attacks that have worked because of this cryptographic exchange that uses domain binding. And so this is really what enables us to go from multi-factor to passwordless. Multi-factor, if you're using it, that's where you either have an app or you get a text with a code in it, and that helps you log in and protect your security. Because instead of just something you know, that is your password, you also have something you have, which is probably your phone with an app on it, or might have been a YubiKey. There is also something you are. These are factors that are like biometrics, so face scans or fingerprints. These are the 3 factors of authentication, and if you're using 2 or more, that'll be called two-factor or multi-factor, depending. So, because passwords were struggling to do the job as we all had more and more accounts and the internet got more and more connected, we needed to add a second factor. It was no longer just a something you know factor, it's now a something you have factor as well to make up for the problems with that first factor. But if we replace that factor with something much more strong and bound to the domain, then that second factor really isn't as needed. So you really don't need passwords if you're using this cryptographic attestation with a hardware token using something you have, whether it's a YubiKey or your laptop. This is going to allow us to only use one factor when we're logging into even pretty sensitive stuff. There might, in some situations, still be a need for having multi-factors, but in a lot of situations, even stuff like banking, a passkey will be sufficient and, in fact, more secure than a password plus any other kind of multi-factor. This has been around for years with YubiKeys, but the problem was you had to enroll at least one or two keys in every single site, and then have all those keys with you, and then if you lost one, re-enroll all of those again. So being bound to a device that you have to enroll and re-enroll was problematic. But if we're going to be using the devices that we already have in our pockets and in our bags, then we should be able to find a way to synchronize based on the ecosystems. And that's what I mentioned earlier. Based on whether you're on Microsoft, Google, or Apple's ecosystem, you'll be able to sync your keys very easily between them. And thankfully, it works between ecosystems as well. But if you're all in on one or the other, it's going to be very, very easy. And then if you're doing cross-domain, it's basically just a little bit of QR code scanning. So let's talk about how you can use this today. So first I want to show a demonstration of what it looks like to create and log into a brand new account just using passkeys. This is webauthn.io, a demonstration with some good information about the WebAuthn specification. This was put together by some of my former colleagues at Duo Labs, who also helped write the web authentication specification that is what makes passkeys possible. So this is a great resource if you want to learn more. Today we're just going to be using the login test flow here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a fake account, and I'm just going to go ahead and call it testing. And then this is a fresh browser, so it's not interacted with my phone before. So when I hit register for the first time, it's going to give me the option, do I want to use a USB security key, like a YubiKey, or do I want to pair a new phone or tablet and use a passkey? So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and that's going to give me a QR code, which I can scan. And then on my phone, it's going to say, are you sure you want to connect? I'm going to hit allow. That is going to say, this is going to create the testing user for the site webauthn.io. I'm going to hit continue, and it's going to ask me to unlock my screen to enable that cryptographic operation. Once I do that, you'll see that it says success, now trying to authenticate, or now try to authenticate, which I will then do. And because this phone has already been paired, it's going to offer that Pixel 7 off the bat. So I'll hit continue, and then I get a push notification on my phone. It will again ask me to unlock my screen to do that cryptographic operation, and then I'm logged in. So what does it look like when you turn on passkeys on accounts you already have? Let's do a real-world example and use my Gmail account. Now, because this is an Android phone and this is a Chrome browser, my phone is already connected and there's a passkey already generated. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's not even going to give me the password option. It's just going to say, use a passkey. I'll hit continue. I get a similar screen, and I again hit the Pixel 7, and then my phone buzzes. I again unlock my screen, and now I'm into my Google account. So that's what it's like to create an account from beginning to end with passkeys. So I know a lot of folks have Google accounts, so this is something you can do today to greatly increase your security. You can enable passkeys on your Google account. If you've got an Android phone, you're already most of the way there. If you've got an iPhone, you'll need to pair it. I'll put the links to the instructions for that down in the video details. And Google is probably the most prominent, but they're not the only one. There are several sites that have already enabled passkeys as the main way to log in, and I'll link to a site that documents those also down in the video details so you can see anywhere where you can improve your security. So we're at the beginning of the end of the password era. And this is one of the things that really excites me is when there's a change in technology that is not just going to be for a few people using a few types of services, but for almost anyone that logs into things on the web, which is basically everyone that operates on the internet. This is going to be a huge improvement in security posture across the board for anyone and everyone with a smartphone, which is not everyone, but is a significant percentage of the population. And so when these folks interact with online services, it is going to be much more secure. And phishing, which is one of the main attack vectors through which malicious actors take money and data, phishing will be greatly reduced, almost to the point of being removed, by this strong cryptographic interaction that is domain bound. So I'm really excited about Passkeys. It's going to greatly improve the security posture of everyone who uses it, and it's going to be relatively easy to use and easy to get going. So check back here for more security stuff, and like and subscribe. No, wait. Go set up Passkeys on your Google and YouTube account, log out, log back in to make sure it works, and then come back here and like and